Hey everyone, in this video I want to wire up my live modular techno case and I'm using the wonderful Arturia KeyStep Pro to control it. I'll start with the kick drum. For this I'm using the Kickain. Put in a trigger, put it on the first drum channel of the key step, and we will wire that into the output module at the top. Nice. And you know, we can already make some beat. So I have here a 4 on the floor. Nice. All right, so the next thing that we need is a hi-hat. For this I'll use the second channel of the Arturia, put it into the 909 hats from Tiptop into the closed gate. I really like the closed gate. Yeah, we'll put this into the mixer here at the top and we will wire the mixer into the input of the Kickain. So the Kickain acts as a end of chain module here. And now we should hear some hats. Nice. And so could already do a beat, limited to 4 steps. Nice. The other thing that I really like here is the accent input. So I'll get another cable, put it into the third channel. And so now let's add some more triggers. So without the accent, it sounds like this. And now we can add an accent here, for instance. Nice. And I think that's like the absolute minimal drum setup you need for techno. And the next thing that I want to add is a bassline. And for this, what I really like to use is the Plaits in this very first mode here. What this does is it outputs a square wave that can be pulse width modulated, and it outputs a triangle wave. And you can detune them with this knob. So let's hear how that sounds, just the raw wave. So let's hear the output into here. This will be quite rough. All right, so what we want is pitch and a trigger. Here, voice 2, pitch. We'll go into the volt per octave in. Let's hear it. Nice. But we also need a trigger. And I will send this into the trigger 1 here of the Quadrax, which I'll use as an envelope generator. And you should see that it lights up. All right, and so what do we do with this envelope? Well, we'll put it into the MUM, beautiful filter, and we'll use the envelope both to open the filter and to open the VCA. Put it into the VCA and to the filter and get the envelope. And so now we make sure we get the output first into the filter. All right, and then take the out here. And so now we shouldn't hear anything, but if we play, all right, yeah, we can already make bassline. So let's start the track. Let's go to 7 steps. Awesome. Now one thing I really like to do is pulse width modulation. It just adds a little bit of life to the bassline. So for this we can use the third channel of the Quadrax with a pretty fast LFO. And let's mute the drums here for a second. Awesome. Yeah, so that's the bassline. From here, I want to go to the Tyso as a percussive voice. So the Tyso is a drum synthesizer, and I'm going to use 2 triggers for it. Trigger 7 and 8. 7 is trigger 1, and then 8 is trigger 2. We should see that light up here. One thing that happens here is this external in, it gets added to the output 1. So what we can do is we can take output 2, put it into the external in. This gives us also a little filter, and then we get an output. Okay, so that sounds like this, and then I like to put it into a filter just to be able to make it a bit less harsh, to a low pass filter. So we can do this. Yes, so we have a bit of percussion going on. We'll use the SY05 as a kind of lead voice. One thing that we'll do here that is a bit special is pitch sequence defined by the Turing machine. So the Turing machine, find many videos on YouTube. It's a way to make random melodies. Now, I'm cheating here a little bit because the Arturia only has 8 outputs, but I need more than 8 triggers. So I have here the FH2, and these outputs here are wired to the outputs here. So I will use here the TM, which should be the last one, this guy. I'll use it as a clock input. And what this does is it advances the Turing machine. You can see here it moves to the right. And that will change the note. So let's listen to this. Now we also need a trigger for this one. I use the S here, which is wired to the 6. And so when we turn this on, we should hear something. Now this module can do a lot of sounds. What I like is putting it into E and going really low. Okay, so let's put some triggers here. Let's mute the rest. Okay, so we hear it, but it's always the same note. It's because the Turing machine isn't getting clocked. Let's go to the Turing machine channel and let's give it 8 channels per bar, and we set it to 8, so that means every bar the melody will repeat. So you hear it's always the same sequence of notes. And let's spice this up a bit. Okay, and if you get tired of the sequence, you can just get a new one. And so yeah, E is nice. I also like B a lot. Yeah, and so you saw we put here the triggers for it. Sometimes I also like to get random triggers, so the Turing machine has a pulse out here. And you can use this as a trigger. And so this is where the quad switch comes in. Basically what I like to do is, be able to either select whether I want to use the Arturia as a trigger source or something from up here. So we'll see this here. I'm going to put the pulse into the top output of the bottom right one. And I'm going to take the trigger that I originally fed directly here. So which one was it? The 6. Going to feed it into the bottom input here. And so now we can select either Turing machine triggers or Arturia triggers, and we can put them into here. So let's hear that. So now it's getting triggered twice, and if we get a new sequence, we also get a new sequence of triggers. So as you can hear, it sounds okay, but it's still kind of dry. And so that's where the effects come in. So I have two effects in this case. The sound hack, Mimeophone, a beautiful delay, clock sync delay, and reverb, and a reverb from the Desmodus. And so let's first wire up the reverb. For this I'm using the aux send of the Dupfer. Okay, the second effect is the sound hack. Because this mixer only has one send, I'm just gonna send the full mix into it. And you know, depending on where we are in the set, we might go more or less into this filter with the mix knob at the top and the color knob. Sorry, one thing that this guy needs totally is a clock. So let's plug that in. Let me quickly show you what that means. So you can see it's like, if it's yellow here, it's gonna repeat every fourth. If it's green, it's gonna repeat every 16th. It's super nice. Now one thing that you might notice is if you do not turn any knobs, it becomes a bit static. So for instance on the bassline, it's super nice to turn the filter knob, right? And so that's where the knob recorders come in. Basically here we have 4 knobs that you can record the movement. So let's take the first one, put it into the filter, hear how it sounds. And I really love those. I actually have another one in the mail. I think they're super useful. All right, but we have a few more modules here, and I think, so we now have a bass line, we have some voice, we have some percussive sounds, but we want more percussion, and so that's where the Rample comes in. I have loaded a few samples on this guy. So the first channel I use for toms, so let's hear those. And we'll just use the mix out here. Now I have to cheat a bit because we are out of inputs and we'll use those two for something else. So I'll just use the return here of the Kickain. Let me use a bigger cable. And let's hear how the toms sound. And so what's nice about the Rample is it has a built-in filter for every channel. It's almost like its own little bass line. The next thing that I like is a clap. And finally a ride. Now one thing that's nice with the Rample is you can have multiple samples per track, and we can switch through them either here with a key combo or, much more conveniently, with CV. So I'm going to wire this guy to here. I'm going to assign sample pack 3 layer, and now I'm gonna have different samples. right, one thing that I see I forgot is I want to put actually the bassline through the Guillotine. So this adds a little bit of distortion. See how that sounds. Yeah, but it's okay. So now for the next trick, so we have one more voice to hook up, but we also have this little thing. I use this for drops. So the Disting Mark IV here acts as a high pass filter. So what I want to do is patch the whole mix through this. And so now nothing changed. But we can do this. But we don't just want a high pass when we go into a drop. We want to do a few other things. And for this module is super useful. So shout out to Mylar Melodies who pointed this out. So the first thing, and this is inspired by Richard Iso. Ricard, sorry if I mispronounce your name. So going to the tone here. We'll also go into the color of the Mimeophone. So the color affects how high the repeats are. And then we will go here. So now as we turn this up, this goes into high pass. So the final thing to wire up here is the Loquelic. Okay, there's a lot of cables here already. Getting to the point of being a bit unmanageable. Okay, so for this we'll use the 4th channel. Pitch goes into the pitch. Gate goes here. So now we should see this slide up. Yeah, perfect. Again, you know, we want to mold the envelope. So we'll put it both into the filter. We'll use the MS22 here, beautiful filter, and a VCA from Deptford. Realizing, it's a bit painful. So I wanted to actually really have this easily accessible. Okay. Let's listen to this. Yeah, one thing that we can do here is really nice. Is we can use the arpeggiator here. So modulation here. So one thing I like to do is modulate the envelope length. Alright, we have one final thing, which is some voice samples. So they are loaded into the 4th channel here, triggered by this trigger, so number 7. I want to wire this into here.
In mind.
Well, that seems to say so. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has just had a...
But actually, let's wire it through the 2nd channel up here.
We are interviewing the world record. One more, please. Professor Pearson has passed me a message which he has just received. Professor, may I read the message to the listening audience?
Certainly.
Attack, attack, A, 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 We haven't used the ornament. I usually use it to offset my melodies to the bass line, but we'll discuss that another time. And yeah, this was all mono. Obviously the last part here could be stereo. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, please leave a like and subscribe. See you next time.